everyone. Thanks for joining us today at the very first WordCamp India online. I am Mohammed Muhsin, and this is the workshop day, first day of the workshop, and welcome to the very first session. So let me share my screen and get to my slides real quick. Hope you can see my screen now. And once again, welcome to WordCamp India. And this is your session, Introduction to WordPress, your first workshop for today. You can follow me on Twitter at MuhsinLK. And let's start with a little bit about me. My name is Mohammed Muhsin, and I'm a senior React engineer at RTCamp. We are a WordPress VIP agency based out of India and the US. We work with large clients, enterprise clients such as PMC, Penske Media Corporation, Google, Facebook, and so on. I also write for popular magazines, developer-focused magazines online, such as Smashing Magazine and a few others. I have been featured for my work on publications like CSS Tricks, WP Tavern, Post Status, and so on. In my free time, I like to explore the natural beauty of Sri Lanka and also travel to different parts of my country, my fantastic country, Sri Lanka. And I like to also do trekking in the wild, in natural springs and streams and so on. And I also like to sip on different types of tea when I get my time. So let's start for the session today. So this is an introduction to WordPress. So let's start with a fact, cold hard fact. 39% of the web is built on WordPress, which means WordPress is huge. And in my opinion, WordPress is here to stay. So let's see why WordPress is so popular. When you say 39% of the web, it's a large chunk of the web is built on WordPress CMS. Okay. So let's see why, and let's see why you should consider WordPress and how you can get started with WordPress. That's how the talk is going to be for today, the workshop. So yeah, the WordPress is the most popular CMS in the world. Like I just said, it covers 39% of all websites in the world, and some of the most visited websites are WordPress websites on the internet. WordPress was created by Matt Mullenweg and Mike Little, the two co-founders of WordPress, and they were based on a previous open source CMS called B2 Cafe Log. WordPress promotes open source as an idea. It's not just open source as free software. It's more like an idea and something part of a culture in the WordPress community. WordPress is free to use, modify, distribute, and so on. And WordPress is free in both senses. It is free as in you can use it for free, and it also has freedom. So WordPress gives you freedom to change the software as you want and modify and distribute and even make money by selling your products built on WordPress. The WordPress, one of the strongest parts of WordPress is its community, which is unique. If you see online communities focused on WordPress, there will be a community unlike any other. So be a part of the community and enjoy and have a nice time while you are with the community. So let's start with a WordPress's definition. So WordPress is a free and open source blogging tool and a content management system, short for CMS, long form of CMS, based on PHP and MySQL or MySQL, which runs on a web hosting service. So that's a lot of words, a lot of maybe new words for folks who are new to web development, perhaps, or the CMS, or even for open source communities. So let's start with the first hard word, which is free and open source. So in our case, let's break it down. And free and open source means it's free as in free of charge, meaning you don't have to pay a cent to work with WordPress on your local environment. And the second part of free is that the freedom to do anything with it. So you can modify it the way you want. You can commit, like you can open a pull request. You can change the way you want. You can create, like you can change it and sell it if you want to even. So WordPress is also a blogging tool and a CMS. What it means is that you can create your own blog. Blog means you write content on your website about yourself. It can be about your interests, it can be about your job, anything that interests you. You can write posts about it on your website. And with the CMS, you use it to manage the content on your website, or your portal, or your app without really writing any code. That's the power of the CMS. If you were to traditionally build websites in the old school way, writing HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, you would have to hand code all individual pages, which is really time consuming. But when you use a CMS, it makes it that much easier for you, and you are able to just focus on writing, which is a big win, which is a huge win in the web development world, which really took the uh, web development industry into great leaps. Yeah, so they use PHP and MySQL or MySQL. PHP is a programming language which is used by WordPress. It's one of the oldest web programming languages, and it has been tried and tested. MySQL is the database for running WordPress. So all your data is using a database software called MySQL or MySQL. Both PHP and MySQL are also open source, and all of this you host it on a web hosting service. You can either host it on your own server and then put it on the cloud, or you can connect it to the internet, or you could hire a server space in one of the popular server hosting providers around the world. You can Google for the popular ones. So let's see why you should consider WordPress and why I love WordPress perhaps. Yeah, so WordPress is popular for its ease of use. So if you take WordPress, it can be great for a content writer. It can be absolutely fantastic for developers, and it can be equally great for hackers. When I mean hacker, I do not mean the typical uh, script kiddies or hackers. I mean the people who use WordPress, use a few plugins, use a few themes, and put a site by themselves. That's what I meant by hacker, meaning they don't write actual code, but I mean they perhaps bring a plugin and a theme and create a website on their own. And yeah, so WordPress is also known for its famous 5-minute install, meaning you can get started with WordPress very quickly. So it says 5 minutes. Sometimes it can take you 30 seconds. Sometimes it can take you more than 5 minutes. So 5 minutes is an average time. Yeah, again, WordPress is very popular for how easy it is to get started with. And yeah, and again, coming back to the free as in freedom, you don't have to pay anything. Like they say on WordPress.org, it's priceless and it's also free, which I fully agree with, because hours, like thousands and thousands of hours, have been utilized to make WordPress the software that it is today. And yeah, so Lighthouse, 100% perfect Lighthouse is possible on WordPress. I have done it on my own website when I had PWA and AMP plugin installed. So you can use a combination of AMP, accelerated mobile pages, and progressive web app. Those are just plugins. You can install those plugins on the latest WordPress theme, and you can get a perfect Lighthouse score. And I just wanted to say that it is possible with WordPress. And WordPress is safe and secure, unlike what you may have heard online, or someone who may have had a bad experience with WordPress may have told you it is insecure. But I have been running WordPress for the last 6 years. I have not faced a threat so far on my personal site. I hope it stays that way. So this was something I saw on Twitter very recently, about 2 days back. So in terms of security standpoint, Sarah asked what's the best CMS, and yeah, I like this reply from Awais. He said, WordPress is excellent, provided you manage it well, or hire a manager, or go with SaaS. Meaning, you should know how to manage and how to use WordPress, or you go with an established WordPress manager, such as those going around. And also, you can, of course, use WordPress.com to get the best version of WordPress. So, on top of what you have with WordPress Core, One of the great strengths about WordPress is that you can use plugins and themes to customize the look and the feel and also the functionality of your website. We'll get into this when we do the actual demo for the workshop. And WordPress is also SEO friendly. Uh, for example, I did not use any special techniques to get to number one on google.com. I only have yoast.com and I was able to get to the first result on Google, although my name is quite popular. And let's do a little bit of clear up. I mean, sometimes when you begin with WordPress, you may not know the difference between WordPress.com and WordPress.org. So let's clear that up for all of us. So WordPress.com is by Automatic. They are a company based in the US and which is remote, which is distributed. And WordPress.org is open source. So WordPress.com is paid, meaning you can have a free version of WordPress.com if you have a subdomain. For example, Muhammad.wordpress.com can be used for free. But if I want my own domain, like Muhammad.com or something with a full domain, you have to pay for WordPress.com. With WordPress.org, the software is fully free. You can install, I will get to it in the next slide, but yeah, it's the free version where you host it on your own servers. So let's see what the differences are. So with WordPress.com, you get started quickly and easily. With .org, you need a domain and a server. With .com, you almost free in terms of what a basic blog would need. But if you use a subdomain, it is fully free. And with .org, you get all the WordPress features, such as all the plugins that are installed, all the themes that you can find, and even all your custom code, even what your friend wrote, their theme, you can use it on your .org website. With .com, you have to pay to use additional features because it's at the end of the day, it's a SaaS model, software as a service. With .org, you can use any theme like I just said in the previous point. So again, .com is run by Automatic. .org is run by the WordPress Foundation, which is the open source foundation governing the WordPress.org project. Let's talk a little bit about self-hosted WordPress. You can find this on WordPress.org. And yeah, we can perhaps get started with our demo for now. So to run WordPress on your local, there are a few ways to do it. Back in the day, I used to have XAMPP. I used to run WordPress on XAMPP when I had Windows. And once WP Engine or local by Flywheel was introduced, I wanted to try it out. And I saw that it's a very easy way for a beginner to get started. You can also try DevKinsta and ServerPress and a few other. There are a bunch of others. The reason we are using local is because that's, in my opinion, that's the easiest way to get started. But there is no affiliation between myself and local. So let's start discussing what we will be going through for the day. We will be starting by installing WordPress on our local server, and then we will be exploring what are pages, what are posts, and what are attachments. Then we will see what are taxonomies, and so categories and tags are the primary taxonomies, and we will look at themes and plugins, and finally custom development using custom post types and custom fields for WordPress. So let's get started. Let me introduce localwp.com. That's where you find the local server for installing and getting started with WordPress with ease and speed. So you download local first on your computer, and you open the local app, and you create a website. And once you create a website, you can go to the dashboard. This is how the WordPress dashboard looks like. So it will always have the /wp admin if you want it, or you can customize it if you want. This is how the front end looks like. This is the latest default WordPress theme. So let's get to our demo for the day. Okay. Okay. So let me create a new site. I'll call this site WordCamp India, and you can have advanced options. For example, if you do not want a hyphen in the middle, you can call it like WordCamp India Local, or you can call it WC India Local, and so on. I call it WC India Local, and this is the local site path. Okay, and this is don't use a blueprint. If you want, you can use the blueprint. Okay, and we continue. There are two options to go with. Either you can go with preferred or custom. If you go with custom, you can select the what version of PHP you want and what web server you want and what database version you want. But let's go with the preferred option. I normally use for local host, I do WordPress, and yeah, the password that I normally use. And either you can, if you want, you can use it as a multi-site. But for our case, let's call it a normal site. Multi-site is an advanced topic where you can have multiple instances within the same database using the same database. So now local site is being provisioned. To reiterate, this site is only in my local computer, and I have to enter my password to get started. Okay. So now that it's started, I will click on open site. And yeah, this is how it looks like. This is a default WordPress site. So this is the title of the website that we entered and the tagline for the site, just another WordPress site. And this is the first post. So it says, welcome to WordPress. This is your first post. Edit or delete, then start writing. If you want, you can start editing it right away. And let's log into the backend for now. So I click on the admin and I go to WP admin. So in that, I use the username and password that I created earlier. And if I want, I can click remember me. Okay. And this is the default dashboard, WordPress dashboard. This is the default WordPress front end. This is what the user would see if a default WordPress is installed. And this is what the admin would see of a fresh WordPress install. So let's explore WordPress a bit. So this is the post. If I want to edit it, I can either click on edit here. I will be taken to the backend. And this is the block editor that you might have heard of called Gutenberg. With this new block editor, all your content is a block. So it's very interesting. For example, I can start writing and I can add a heading. Is a paragraph. So in this concept, every item is a paragraph. Every block is a specific part of what you want. For example, let's say you want to write some poetry. You can add this. So this is poetry. This is another kind of poetry. I don't have the idea to write poem all day, so let's add an image perhaps. In the default media library, we would not have any images, so let's pick an image from perhaps here. Let's add this image if it's possible to add it. Okay. I'll be adding, okay, it's a HEIEC attribute, so it will not be added perhaps. Let me quickly add an image, a supported image type perhaps. Okay, I'll just add the WordPress watermark. Okay, so I'll add this, and this is an image. I can use the image to align center or align right or align left, you know. and I can also do wide width, or I can even do full width. So it will look huge. If I see the front end now, this will look huge. So all these options you can easily do with WordPress. So let me delete. So that's the power of Gutenberg. I can talk about Gutenberg all day because it has a bunch of blocks. For example, I can use a full quote, and I can say, I can use a quote. It will be packaged in a beautiful way, like a full quote. All these beautiful options it has. And yeah, so I can create a table, for example. I can do a cover image and a lot more. Yeah, I can go on and on and on about it. For example, if I want to embed a tweet, I can do that, or a YouTube video. And yeah, there's a lots of, yeah, you should definitely explore Gutenberg. But Gutenberg is a topic of its own. So let's get back to what we were focusing on. So this is how you edit a post. And if you want to create a new post, you press add new, and I can call it, this is a new blog post. I call it new blog post. Hello and welcome. This is a new blog post in WordPress. I can assign it a category. Categories are a way to categorize WordPress posts. I'll call it WordCamp. WordCamp. I'll give it a tag. Intro. New WordCamp India. These are, again, tags are ways. Tags are another way to categorize a post. I can give it a featured image. Perhaps I can use this image itself, and I can give it an excerpt. And yeah, so let's see how it looks like on the front end. View post and the new post, and this is a featured image. And hello and welcome. This is a new blog post in WordPress. This is a category. Sorry, this is the author's name, WordPress, and this is the category WordCamp, and these are the tags that we used. So if I want to go to all posts tag WordCamp, I click on this and it comes. And if I create another blog post tagged WordCamp, let's give it a category of new category, perhaps call it JavaScript, and I'll give it a tag of WordCamp, and I'll publish it. So now if I see, I can see two posts under WordCamp tag. So that is tagging, and categories also work in a similar way. For example, if I give it the category of WordCamp, and I can go to /category and WordCamp, these two will come. So again, tags and categories are a way to categorize or group together similar posts. Normally, category is usually used as primary, meaning more like a higher level taxonomy or higher level categorization. And tags are normally used, multiple tags are used in a post to categorize all the things that the post is talking about. So we just discovered what is a post in WordPress. Perhaps post is like the basic or the base post type, and WordPress has different types of post types. And let's start. So let me explain. So WordPress has different post types, and one of those is also called post, and the other one is called pages. Think of posts as content type. So the first content type is called posts, okay, and the second content type is called pages, and I'll call it about. I'll just call it about. This is WordCamp India. But pages act like a typical page. It is evergreen. It will not change. and posts rather have a date. Normally, if you see a post, it will have a date and it will have categories, it will have tags and so on. But if you take a page, it will just have the title and the content. It will not even have the author most of the time. So that's the difference between a page and a post. A page is evergreen, it will always be there. A post is not evergreen. It will have different dates and it will change. And in the home page, the latest post usually comes first if it's a blog page, if it's the blog or archive page. So we saw what is a post and what is a page. Perhaps we can add the page to our menu. So under appear, this is the dashboard menu. So this, it has something called menus. This will come up in the front end. So let me show you how. So let's say we have I'll create a menu. I'll call it primary menu, and I'll assign it to the primary menu, and I'll create. So if I see now, okay, so the about page is here, and this was already there. This sample page. This is an example page by WordPress themselves. So when you install a fresh copy of WordPress, you will get this sample page. So this is the menu, front primary menu, and this is the WordCamp India. So if you want to see the other menu, it's called secondary menu. Create a new menu, and it's called, I'm not sure where it is. Perhaps I just add a few. I'll just add all the posts there, and if you see here, the secondary menu is here. Okay, this is secondary menu, and this is the primary menu. Cool. So let's see what we can cover now. We want to talk about installing. We did talk about installing posts, pages, attachments, and categories and tags we did. And let's talk about plugins and themes. So when I talk about attachments a little bit, so attachments are the menu media items here. So let's say I want to add a new item here. I can select from my local, and let's say I want to have okay, this image. I just add it here, and I can use this image in one of my posts. I just edit this post, and perhaps I can call it image and media library. I just add this image. I can also convert this image into a cover. When I do that, I can do it like this, align it full width, and I can even write this is awesome. So if I see this post, it looks like this. I can even do a few interesting things like fixed background, and I can do it like this. It will give this parallax effect, which used to be really cool back in 2015, and we used to write a lot of CSS to achieve this. But now with WordPress and Gutenberg, you can achieve it with just a click of a button or a click of a checkbox. Okay, so this is something I really love about Gutenberg, that you can achieve all these with just a click. Okay, so we already looked at post pages, attachments, taxonomies, and let's talk about themes and plugins now, which is a huge part of WordPress. So let's talk about themes first. So now we have the 2020 theme. This is called the 2021 theme, actually, this theme. And if you want to check out the 2019 theme, it's all about just clicking on it, and it's already active. Now this is the 2019 theme. It looks much different from before. It's like a completely new website, although it just took a single click of a button. We have completely changed our website to something entirely different. Let's change it again to something else. Let's change it to the 2020 theme. Okay, this is again something very different again. It's like we just changed our website again once more. It looks like a completely different site, just a click of a button. So let's say you're not happy with the default themes, but they are like one of the best things, some of the best things you can find for WordPress. Let's assume you're not happy. Okay, these all are called the default themes that comes every year, 2019, 2020, and 2021. So let's say you're not happy with one of them, you can just click on add new theme, and you can select from thousands of themes actually. And if you're still not happy, you can buy a custom made theme from the stores online, or still if you're not happy, you can build your own theme. Okay, let's click. I have something that I like, but let's see what is popular. Okay, let's see. Okay, I had something in mind called Pen Scratch, which I used for my very first website. This is the theme I liked a lot when I started with WordPress back in 2015. I used this on my personal website for quite a long time. So let's see how it looks like. So you might have wondered, I like flat or rather plain and minimal designs. Yeah, this was one of my favorite themes back in the day. So yeah, so we looked at themes, and you can install themes from the repository. These are all free themes, and if you are not satisfied with free theme, you can buy a premium theme or build your own theme. Let's look at plugins now. Let's say you want a plugin to sell things online. So what would you do? You go to WooCommerce. WooCommerce is one of the most popular e-commerce platforms, and it's built on top of WordPress. You install WooCommerce, and you're ready to start selling products and become an e-commerce merchant uh, with a few clicks of buttons and some more work behind the scenes. Let's say, let's I guess get to the next point, which is custom posts and custom fields. For that, we can do it in two ways. We can either use a plugin or use custom code. So for our example, we will use a plugin. It's called Custom Post Type UI, and it's created by WebDev Studios. Let's install that. And while we're at it, it's also, okay, let's activate it. And let's add a new post type. Let's say we want to write, let's say we're not happy with posts and pages, we want something extra, something more. So let's say we want a book, and we want to use that as the starting point. Okay, add post type, and now you have books here. So with book, you can add a new book. Let's call it Oliver Twist. This is a book by Charles. Publish. If you see here, it says book and Oliver Twist. Let's say we want to categorize books in a certain way. We can actually use a custom taxonomy. We can call it genre, and we can assign it to books. So once we do that, types, category of books, add the taxonomy, and now we can go to books. And if you see here, you can click on genre. I guess Oliver Twist is literature. I don't know what it's all about. Yeah, so I can categorize Oliver Twist as literature. And now if I see under books, if I go under my books, I'll have genres, and under genres I will have Oliver Twist, and if I can see Oliver Twist under this. So these little bit of custom, little complex topic, but when you do custom development, this is absolutely necessary. So let's talk a little more and about custom fields. So the perfect plugin for custom fields is called Advanced Custom Fields. And with this, you can install this plugin. It has over millions installations, and activate it. And you go to custom fields, add a new field, book fields, and let's say you want to assign it to all the books there. And let's say you want to have author, the text, let's publish it. So if you want to display the author, so let's say you go to my books and Oliver Twist, and we want to show who the author is by a field, not by a text, about a boy. And the author's name is Charles Dickens. So now it will be updated and the author's name would be Charles Dickens. So I'll try to bring it to the right if it's possible. I can also bring it to perhaps this way. Yeah. So the book Oliver Twist, Charles Dickens is here. It's made. I'll make the screen more visible here. Okay. Now I guess it's a little more visible that the name of the author is Charles Dickens. Okay. So if you want to see the book in the front end, you go here, you click on view, and if you want to show who the author is in front end, you have to write custom code for it. You can look into the ACF documentation to see like something called get field, and you use this field or use the field ACF, and you would use it inside of your theme to show it on the front end. So since this is just an introduction, if you use this on the theme that governs this, on the file that governs this, the template file that governs this theme, it will be visible to you on the front end with the name author. So since we are running out of time, and since this is just an introduction to WordPress, I think it pretty much covers what we wanted to for the day. So let me come to a conclusion now. So once again, we covered what installing WordPress locally using local by W2 engine. We saw post pages and attachments. We looked at taxonomies, namely categories and tags. We looked at themes and plugins. We looked at WooCommerce. We looked at CPT UI, and we looked at ACF, 3 different plugins. And then we talked about custom post types and custom fields using those plugins. And custom taxonomies also we looked at using genres for books. So coming back to the conclusion, so perhaps you would have heard different arguments for WordPress and against WordPress. So it will go on forever, I think. People will say bad things about WordPress. People would say good things about WordPress. But for me, I have only mostly good things about WordPress. And I think arguments about is WordPress cool or not, or WordPress is trending or not, or is WordPress dying or not, are mostly pointless. I think it's rather we focus on the tools, focus on the perfect tools that we have at hand, and use it to benefit us and our clients and employers and so on. So yeah, final message for all of us is to spread kindness. Let us spread kindness. And yes, so thank you for listening to me today. It's been a pleasure talking to you all. If you have questions, you can always reach out on Twitter at MuhsinLK. And one final message, if you would like to work with me at WordCamp, I would love to work with you. Yes, you can head on to rt.camp/join and apply for working with us. And yeah, that's it for today. And Again, thanks for having me today with you all. It has been a pleasure talking to every one of you. Yes, I'll see you soon. Bye. Bye all. Thanks.